So if you have old field ground or old pasture, that's some of the easiest ground to convert into good habitat. So consider yourself lucky. I want to show you some old field and some old pasture we have on our farm today and show you what's happened over time as that successional process has played out in the form of woody and herbaceous growth. All right, so this particular area was a 4-acre field back in 2001. Look what's happened over time. And look what there's a lot of in this area. There's a deer bed. There's a beautiful deer bed. There's another deer bed. And there's one actually right back there. So there are actually beds all over in this old field area. The only thing we did in this particular area was add some spruce, because the woody growth in here is exactly what we wanted. Lots of box elder. There's some ash mixed in. Lots of box elder. And that's a great deer species, great habitat species. We got milkweed, all kinds of good stuff. So this area was a field. We let it go. We added some spruce, and now it has become phenomenal deer habitat. We managed the thistles over time. What we should have done initially to really, I mean, this spot would have been here 10 years ago if we would have got in and killed this cool season grass. But you don't know what you don't know. We didn't do that 20 years ago when this went fallow. But it's still, over time, that successional process took over, and we got all this phenomenal woody growth. So sometimes if you just let it go fallow, you can get good habitat. That doesn't always happen. Most of the farm, this process is not played out like this, because this is the furthest away from kind of the winter yarding grounds. So the deer have let this area go, but other areas on the farm, we have to do other things to convert the old field, because the deer keep this eaten down. They don't allow that successional process to play out. And you can see one other thing we did a few years ago, add a few extra spruce in here just to add a little bit more thermal cover. But I love old field habitat or old pasture, because that essentially is a blank slate. My first thing that I want to do is just see what that seed bed holds. There's one that we planted. I want to see what the seed bed holds. So to do that, we need to release the seed bed, we need to kill the grass and let it go. And eventually we can get this. I mean, this is some of the best habitat we have on the farm. There's just so much food and so much cover in here. I mean, this has become a beautiful 4-acre bedding area. And to even help it out more, we could come in, spray out these areas in the spring, get rid of that grass, and these areas would pop as well. But it's been fun to see how this is converted, to see that we actually have deer coming out of this area now, when it used to be a field. It just took time. You just got to let that successional process play out. Let the woody stems fill in. When you let a field go fallow the first year or two, you're going to get a flush of annuals. Then your perennial plants will set in. And then around year 3, 4, the woody stuff will really start to take off. And that's what we want up here in the north. But fun to see when this happens. All right, let me show you another area that we're working on converting, but we're using a little bit different management tactic. All right, so this is old pasture ground, and the deer have kept this area hammered down over the years. So any woody growth that's come, they've kept it hammered down. But look underneath, we got a lot of dead grass. So now this stuff is going to shoot up because that grass acts like a sponge, sucks all the moisture out, but now it's dead. So these trees are going to get ample moisture, and we're going to give them that much more opportunity to grow. And you can see this stuff should finally start to grow past the browse line of the deer. So the browse line's probably about right here. You can see most of it's right at that, but now we got some trees that are starting to shoot past. And this stuff gets browsed the hardest in the winter, because that's when deer really rely on that woody browse. So if we can get this stuff to get up to that 6 foot mark, you know, get it up to about right here, we can get it past the browse line, we can actually start to have some cover in this area. Because if the deer keep it at that 3-4 foot mark, once the leaves fall off, this area just is not covered for deer. And again, we added in some scattered spruce, because we're always looking to add in that thermal component. And I've found over the years, those isolated conifers and bedding areas always bed deer. You almost always find deer beds in those areas. But this is just awesome to see. You can see the deer are still in here. They are browsing this stuff some. Some of this is going to stay at their level, but some of this should be able to shoot past and start to look more like that area I just walked out of over there. Look at that, we got rain coming. Man, we need it too. So this is just phenomenal to see. And all this took is coming in the spring and spraying it with clethodim. I do 16 ounces of cleth mixed with 32 ounces of crop oil per acre, and it just peppers the grass. And the thing with the cool season grass too, you have to keep at it. It's not just a 1-year deal. I mean, you got to think the seeds have been dropping for a long time. So even the grass you kill 1 year, over the summer, there's going to be some grass. See a little bit of grass in there that's going to sprout back. So really, you should stay at it for 3 to 5 years, at least a good 3 years. If you're going to commit to it, spray it for a few years, and you should knock it back for a good long while. If you just do it 1 year, you'll get a benefit for a year or two. Eventually that grass is going to come back, but I want as much woody response as possible, so I'm going to keep at that grass, keep killing it back, so I can get this flush of woody growth and additionally some herbaceous growth. And here's just one other area in the same pasture. Clearly over that direction we had better seed trees, just more, you know, tree seed that was in the soil. Here we're getting more of an herbaceous response, but there are some trees, see these oaks here, that we're breathing new life into by just killing the cool season grass. Now these oaks, they need to get caged because the deer are going to keep hammering on them. I'm sure they're, yeah, you can see the browse on them. So these will get protected at some point. You can see all the different cool plants that we got in this area. Lots of goldenrod. We have a lot of volunteer clover. I'm not seeing it here, maybe a little bit right there. But this is still good habitat. It's not going to have a huge benefit after the frost hits, when this stuff starts to break down, but it's good fawning cover right now. Good brood rearing cover for turkeys. I've been kicking pheasant poults out of here, so it's just fun to see, because before this area was just junk. It was non-native cool season grass, and all it took was some herbicide, and the grass is smoked. All right, I'm starting to get rained on. Storm's coming. So you all take care. God bless.